Alright, hello. Today we're going to be going over the games where I played Clash with some of my varsity team. This is day 2 of Clash. I ended up having to pick Renekton into Urgot, because my team just likes picking Renekton sometimes. I don't personally enjoy the champion too much. This matchup I did play previously, and I should have been able to perform better, but we're going to get into it on why I was not able to. So they ended up going for the cheese play into top lane, and I noticed this a little bit late. I kind of stutter-stepped here because I just was not sure on what the heck was going on. So I ended up starting E, because what you should do is you should hold your level up until you have a reason to level it up. That's as straight up as I can be. So what ended up happening is they walked in. I don't have any steals leveled, so what ends up happening here is I just hit E, I hit E level up on my keyboard, and I E away. So that way I don't need to flash out of this play to stay alive. I put the ward down on the way out. I'm able to have vision on them and see if they walk further into our jungle. So the main issue with what happens this game is that I end up not expecting Urgot to level up E first, and I have E as my upgrade. So he E's me, and then he's able to put me in a really disadvantageous position where I have to flash out, because he just messes me up pretty much. It was really bad by me, and that leads to him. This is a Diamond Urgot, by the way. Diamond 2. He ends up shoving in these waves slowly. He's calling his jungler for a crash, and then he shoves in the third wave fast to get this crash with Lilia right here. I'm knowing that this is going to happen, so I'm asking my Evelynn if they're able to come up. Here they are, though. I ended up getting my Q set instead of my E, which feels pretty bad in this position, but I'm able to avoid enough for now. I get E'd by Urgot, and I get to pick up a trade kill. The reason this is still bad is because I'm losing quite a few minions here, but they did not execute their dive very well, since they don't exactly have the best dive potential. So then the junglers trade flash for flash. I TP bad so I can collect some CS and some XP so that I'm not super far behind. What ends up happening here is that Urgot TP's here. I don't notice it. I'm trying to pick up this wave. Our jungler's trying to get this Stuttle Crab, thinking that our mid had prio. Meanwhile, he has no prio. And I start walking down when I see this Urgot. I start walking down before I see the Urgot because I wanted to try and get this kill, but it did not pan out, unfortunately. And now I'm in an awkward spot again, and Urgot ends up running me down the turret. So what I needed to do better here was that I needed to start roaming down to try and give my jungler pressure and prio earlier, and just kind of sacking those few minions, and then being able to see Urgot for him so that he doesn't get flash played on, and we're able to probably turn that fight around. So right here I come back to the wave, I start slow pushing it out, hoping that he loses as much CS as possible. He loses about 4 minions because of that. At this point it feels really hard to fight him since he's so far ahead. He has Tiamat and everything, but I'm still going to look for a trade because I'm a madman and I wanted to see if I could get something good off of my free trade and have a minion advantage. He just kind of shoots me down. The trade wasn't that bad though, all in all. It did make me lose lane prio, so I'm not able to really contest the wave too much, which is really bad in that part. But now we're just kind of at a stalemate. He has Tiamat, so he's never able to freeze. This Lilia does a really nice job of walking into the lane to do a lane gank, and I ended up dodging this ult, and I got hit by an auto attack to kill me, unfortunately. Luckily, our jungler was able to pick a kill off of that. So here we are back in the lane. Our mid and jungler were able to kill Lilia till she got flanked on by the mid laner. So now I'm just trying to slow push this again, but the thing is that he has Tiamat. I don't know exactly what my trade pattern was here. I E'd in, got Fury, and then I used my Fury to E out, and it was really horrible. Like, my Renekton mechanics right now are very garbage, and I feel really bad about it. I don't know why I'm trying to pressure this wave so hard. I'm playing like absolute trash. I talked a lot during my 2 ranked games this day, and then I guess it took all of my brain power because that was horrible. I was able to shove in the turret, sure, get a reset, but he's just gonna auto shove the wave anyway, right? He has Tiamat. He's not gonna hold the wave. And the fact that I did that means that I had an awkward reset, which means that he gets to shove in all these minions. I lose 6 minions worth of XP. I'm even further behind. He gets to go get Stuttler. And then I show up to the wave late. And now we're looking to see if we might be able to play off onto Urgot. He's quite far away. This doesn't pan out, but then we make the call to go for it again. I wait for my E to get up. I flash in, I W, we get the charm off. And then we're able to I believe. He walks in and he ults. So we're able to pick up that kill, and then we notice that Lilia's coming up. I'm pretty positive that we'll be able to win this. So I walk in, I charge up my W. She ends up walking into the range of my W. I E away like a moron, but it doesn't really matter. We're able to get another kill off onto Evelyn. So what I end up doing this game is I get 3 kills onto Evelyn, and that's pretty much it. That's my whole laning phase as Renekton. Renekton is an early game champion, and he needs to be treated as such. I messed up my early game, so I was pretty much useless until this point. At this point, I was a lot stronger. Not really me, but my impact on the game was a lot stronger. I was able to get our Evelyn ahead. And our Evelyn being ahead is what ends up making this game go a lot smoother for us. In the end, I missed that cannon minion because I'm bad at the game. And yeah. That's what you have to do as early game champs that have single point and click CC. It helps out a lot. And then I looked for a TP flank into this play. Got matched. We were able to go burst this Lilia, and I wasn't even able to auto-attack her, to be honest. Like, I couldn't do anything. I should have just stepped down, went for Leona in this bush. If I had a ward up, I could have been able to ward it. I had a control ward, so I should have done that. I should have just control warded this bush, and then went on to Leona. It would have given us another kill, I believe. And then here, we're just following them. We're trying to see if they end up going for a play. Our jungler goes in. He has ult, so he's okay. And then I looked to try and get some poke onto this Urgot, seeing if anyone wanted to follow up, but no one had anything they were able to follow up with, so now we just walked all the way back to top lane. And we chased down this Zoe, who was out of position because as we were walking up, she ended up trying to follow. I sat in this bush, and me and the jungler were able to collapse on, getting her flash. And then it was just, I was covering for Urgot. Wasn't able to ult them, and I shoved in mid and got a play. After that, I looked to reset, and I walked all the way back to top lane, where Urgot's a fun champ. Sometimes when he gets ahead, he just melts your turret plates, but our bot lane got first turret, so it's okay. Now I just shove in this wave, Urgot stays, so we both end up going for a reset here, and then I walk down to get Prio onto Dread. We end up getting the Dread, I pick up the mid wave, and then Lilia looks to push out my turret. My turret's pretty low at this point, she has Herald, so I was just trying to make sure that nothing was going to get taken out. I end up walking down, Urgot ends up picking up a really free kill onto our Evelyn, which is really bad, because she was worth 1,000 gold. And now the game's a little bit harder at this point. We don't have our mid laner, we don't have our jungler, and they're going to shove in mid with Herald. I was looking to try and get a play if they tried to overextend to attempt to get the turret, so at that point I saw that they weren't. I walked all the way back to top lane, I was able to pick up this wave. If Urgot pressured this turret, I don't think there's anything I could have done to him, so that was a misplay on his part. At this point, I'd look to shove in this wave, keep Urgot on the map, if possible, or just keep him in top lane. And now I reset. I picked up Prowler's Claw, I believe, at this point. I have Prowlers and Boots, yep. And the reason I went Prowler's Claw this game is because there's a lot of squishies on their team. At this point, I was pretty useless at killing the Urgot, and we already had a front line with our Brightest. I wasn't too worried about that. At this point, I could also just build into Starets or build into Spear Visage to still be tanky, so I wasn't too stressing about my impact on tanking anything this game. I was more just a damage bot to try and one-shot. But what ends up happening here is that I'm calling, I don't want to fight this, I don't want to fight this, we don't want to fight this, we don't have Tiana, we don't have Jinx ult, we don't have Evelyn ult, and our ADC is calling for us to fight this. So I end up saying, okay, fine, I'll TP down. Meanwhile, I wanted to really just get this turret, get this wave, get the next wave, start putting this turret, and we would have been super far ahead. At least I would have been back in the game. And now I'm walking into a fight where we don't have anything that we can do, everyone's already batting up. And I end up just greeting and going in, because I thought I'd be able to do a lot of damage with my Prowler's Claw W combo, but I end up not doing anything. I don't even end up hitting my W. And then 2 people end up dying, and we lose all of our Prio, and it gets really awkward at this point. I mechanically misplayed a lot this game, and I feel pretty bad about it overall. And we were going to look to set up Dragon here, but our mid laner decided to go for a little bit of a greedy pathing, so we ended up getting caught out. I was calling that we would be able to set up for it, even though we didn't have the Evelyn ult or anything of the sort, but no one was in position. Jinx got a pretty low ult on that, and I end up going bot lane here because we don't think that they're going to go for the Baron at this point. We're mainly just trying to get CS on the map. I'm looking to try and flank around to get this Ezreal. Unfortunately, I'm not able to get on top of him. My Prowler's Claw was just out of range. and I just look to steal jungle camps and keep pushing out bot. While I'm pushing out bot, my teammates have played to push out mid. We get a kill onto Lilia. And I'm saying that they should keep pushing mid, I'll push out bot, and then the team, for some reason, gets split. We don't end up keeping the pressure mid, we end up blocking bot lane when I was pushing that perfectly fine by myself. So it was another macro misplay by the team, where we should have been able to push in both lanes and pressure the turret health a little bit more. But in the end, it's not that important, it's not the end of the world. We end up getting both of their buffs, and we end up resetting and looking for Baron. So now both teams were set up around Baron. We didn't really feel too confident in trying to just rush it with the team comp that we had. We didn't have the highest Baron take potential. It's more burst potential, as you can see. And once we got that Lilia kill, we ping Baron. I'm going to go bot lane since I have TP. I can still split and put pressure on the map, but I don't want to extend too far since I don't see them contesting on these wards. If I try to extend and I try and push in this wave, there's a big chance that Zoe and Urgot or even Ezreal would be able to be down here and pick me off. So what I end up doing is I just end up resetting, and I walk top lane because I have TP, and then the next objective is Trident. So now right here, we don't even need this Trident. This is a really good macro play by the jungler. He called this out, and we ended up just trying to not get in a fight here, but trying to delay them. They wanted Dryden real bad. I started to push in top lane. Our jungler started to push in mid lane. We had Baron, right? So what they did here is they just tried to delay bats while I pushed in top, then he pushed in mid. What I ended up doing is I walked over to top lane. I keep pushing in this. I push in mid inhib. Our fight's working out really well for us, and we're able to push in this mid inhib. I do a pretty big mistake here, and we're gonna talk about it. This isn't the mistake, this is me. I said I was in a limit test and try and kill her here. So, this is why I took Prowler's Claw. I can just one-shot, but what ends up happening is I E back in, so I don't get an E reset, and I auto-attack for some reason, and I don't flash, so I end up dying to a turret. It's really bad. I'm gonna be honest, it was really pathetic, but we were still able to hit both those turrets because we were in such a lead. It was a really close Urgot execute there. This fight just plays out since we're so ahead. We're able to just pick them off one by one. Our Kiana ends up showing up, and we can go ahead and win the game at this point. I made it for the end screen. Woo! So here's game 2. My team decided to try out a different champ. Our mid laner doesn't normally play Tristana. Our jungler schooled that bit out a little bit, so we decided to play Karthus. And I was playing Gnar, pretty early pick, so they counter-picked me with Jace. We looked for a really weird fight here. We were just kind of walking around, getting poked. And now the lane just starts. I wanted to pull this wave since I saw that they went and started blue side. So what happened here was I ended up warding this when I saw that both their jungler and top laner, I believe, or jungler and mid laner right here, our jungler walks in. They both walked out. So my choice is I'm going to go ward this. I'm going to see what buff he starts on. This is really important in any game if you're able to do this, if you're able to get the ward off and get information for your team. So we see that Graves is going to be pathing bot side. So now everyone knows that. I foolishly walked up to this bush, and I don't really do anything, and I get chunked really hard. I was just playing with boomer hands today, to be honest. Like, it was really bad. Like, my performance, I do not like at all, so there's quite a bit to talk about. This laning phase was not good for me. I was trying to hit level 2 first, since I knew that... I don't even need to. If I don't hit level 2 here, Graves is pathing down the bot side, my jungler's pathing the top side. We can let their jungler push, or their top laner push in, and then we can gank their top laner once he has the wave shoved in. So why am I contesting this wave? I don't need to contest this wave. If he shoves this in, it's okay. I can just Q from a distance to try and get last hits. And then from there, I can set up for my jungler and try and get a gank off. But instead, I just contest the wave really hard. So right here, we're kind of just staying in the middle of the lane because we're both ranged and we're both able to contest. So it's kind of just like, he has no mana. I want to look to trade into him since he has no mana. But I step up a little bit too close, and then I walk in pretty far, to be honest. Like, that was a pretty far jump. And my jungler isn't here to assist yet, so going for these kind of trades right now isn't that important. We could just let him push in the wave since he has no mana, and then our jungler would be able to gank. I was just kind of auto-pushing and auto-piloting, and it was really, really bad to do. Here we looked for the gank anyway, but the thing is he walks in a little bit too soon. I need to auto and try and get my mega. So now I walk in, I hit the W, I hit the Q, we're able to get his flash. If we waited a little bit longer on the engage, then I would have been able to get the jump on him a little bit better. He ends up helping me shove in this wave, which I don't hate, but at the same time, it stopped me from getting enough money for my item here, which feels really bad. Like I wasn't able to pick up plated steel caps or the movement speed item, heartbound ats, I believe it's called. So now I'm just sitting on components, and it feels pretty bad, but he's also sitting on components. But just imagine if I had plated steel caps, I can run him down, and this lane feels a lot better for me. It gives me a lot of armor, it helps me prevent a lot of trades. So if you're able to tell your jungler to let you have the CS, you ping your gold, you just ping your item that you're going for, and that'll help communicate. Hopefully you're able to get the items that you need. So then from here, I'm just slow pushing in this wave. It's closer to my turret. And I'm looking to try to get any poke on him since I'm sits now, and I'm looking to engage with Magnar. From here, he hits sits, but Jace's level sits doesn't really matter. I just look to run at him. I hit him with a stun. I auto, I Q. But what I should have done is I should have ulted earlier. I ulted late, and I messed up my combo. I didn't even get to pick up my Q. I should have W'd, ulted into the wall, Q'd, autoed, and then followed up by picking up the Q and getting another auto off. And it would have been a really, really good trade for me. It would have put me ahead and accelerated my game, so that it's not awkward from where I am right now. Graves is top lane here. I'm looking to just keep the pressure up. I don't really care because I have vision. If he shows up, it's not the end of the world. They don't even end up killing me because I have quite a bit of mobility. So at this point, I look for the reset, and then I just get my heartbound at, stick boots, and I start walking back to lane. He's able to shove in this wave, but since I had a good reset, I only miss one minion, but I still got the XP. And now we get to shove in this wave slowly. We weren't able to freeze it, unfortunately, but I don't believe there was anything we could have done to prevent that. Let's check. So we go for this trade, and then we shove in this wave. We walk up to get the crash, and then we walk unnecessarily far, because I thought he might go for Q poke. So I believe we could have gotten here in time to freeze if we just pushed it. If we just decided to go for a little bit more of a riskier back. But it's not that bad to do in that situation, because then he'll still have the same items as me, and we're just going to be kind of chilling. So right now I find him in the river. My jungler says that he has ult if I want to look for the fight, and he says also that the fight doesn't look very good. So what I decide to do is I decide to E, I ult in, I W, I Q, and here comes the Karth Assault. So I could have probably gotten this kill by myself. It was nice to have the Karth Assault, but all in all, it removes me from getting a kill, and it lets him beat me in the side lane later, because I don't have the gold. So what I do is I pick up a plate, I put up the next wave, and then I do a reset. This reset, I also walk to here, so I could have been about here. Either way, it's not that bad, because he wasn't able to shove in the wave quick enough that I get to hold this wave in front of my turret. So right here, we could have done better jungle tracking, because what ends up happening here is that Graves walks through the lane. He has a really nice lane gank, and we're looking for a gank ourselves, because I'm hitting Mega here. I got poked out a little bit too much to begin this, so what ends up happening is that I jump in, and I get smoke screened, I get Graves bursted, and I get one shot, pretty much. I just threw down my W, I wasn't expecting the Graves to be there, and we both end up getting killed for that. So I need to not take the aggressive trade before we were going into this play, and instead just pace it out, and not, E aggressively get half my health chunked. Because if I had half my health at that point, I would have been able to assist a lot better in this fight, and not get hit by that Q. And that also messed me up quite a bit. Because I'd be at about 3/4, and I'd probably be able to get my ult off at least. It wouldn't lead to much unless I flash ult him into this wall, but it could have done a lot better if I mechanically played better. So now I just TP back to the turret. The reason I TP here is because I just want to shove in this wave and punish this Jace for having a later recall. I end up getting this plate, and then I instantly start walking down to this dragon. So, since I TP'd top lane here, I didn't have TP for this dread, so I walked down. I went and found myself a flank. We ended up going in here. This fight is a little awkward since our ADC didn't want to talk the entire time, so we didn't know that he was just shoving in the wave and not joining the team. Now Jace is able to TP to the team. I'm trying to get Mega. I started Dragon like an idiot, because then it slows us down. We're not able to do much. Our team isn't super split. Our ADC showed up very late, and we end up losing quite a few members for no reason. Meanwhile, this fight could have done a lot better, to the point where we don't even need to lose that many members, and I just got surprise Jace queued when I wanted to just ult him into the turret. Again, I could have flash ulted, and it would have turned into another good play by me, but I mechanically misplayed so many times this game that it's just painful to even look at, to be honest. So yeah, here I went back to top lane. I don't have TP yet, I'm just trying to catch my CS. Our mid laner was just still in mid, it was all good. And we're just trying to shove in this wave and look to put down vision or try and get some poke on the turret. I think I would have preferred getting vision here. But all in all, it's okay. We're just shoving. They made a play to bot lane, so I was thinking that we could make a play to top. We don't really end up being able to execute on that too much. He Qs in. I end up getting chunked because Jace is really strong at this point. He just does a lot of damage with his Eclipse. And now it's pretty much just a jungler fighting him. I get a nice Q, trying to make myself still useful. We end up picking him up, so now we can push this in. And I'm able to pick up a turret. Or not quite yet. Yeah, I ult that wave so that I can pick up a turret. And our team ends up getting Herald Pry. So then we get Herald in a turret. That's a good play to make on the other side of the map once your team messes up. This is a pretty late bat though, so I end up getting punished for it, and I lose my turret. So maybe the line is just to not get that turret at all on my half, and then just get the reset off, help get Herald, or don't even help get Herald because it wasn't really contested, and then I can walk all the way back and save my turret from getting killed. Because turret for turret, I don't know if it's all that worth it. It's more just opening up the map. This is another play where our team was super split. I wanted to get this fight off, but our jungler and our mid laner, who were very squishy, were playing at the bot side of the fight, and Seraphine hit a really nice ult. And I got hit by everyone's CC and got killed. So it was another really bad fight that happened, and we weren't able to do anything. Feels really bad. This game, as you can tell, was pretty rough. We had horrible communication, and we just were not performing at all to our best potential. So now I just decided to go mid. I was going to clear out to top lane, pick up a Studdler. Now on top. And I wasn't ready for Fizz to be sitting in a bush. I do this to people, he did this to me. It was a really good play by him, I need to be more aware of it. I just got solo killed, and there wasn't anything I could do. Because I walked straight into his play. So now I respawn, my teammates got caught out in mid, so I'm trying to hold this, make sure that they don't get anything else. Start walking top lane, trying to defend this turret. Because I don't want Fizz to try and get Prio. And now we're just looking to CS and think about this Baron play. Our team is thinking about it themselves. We get a nice bit of damage onto this Fizz, and he just barely gets out. So then what happens here is we're in another split fight. We're in another bad spot where we overextended. And now we look for this Graves. Graves ended up flashing out. And now we look to go on to Sona. Sona ends up getting caught here. And Seraphine hits a really nice 3-person ult, which then leads into us being able to kill Sona, but at what cost, you know? And Jace just kind of goes off. Does a lot of damage this fight. I ended up losing another member. I'm just playing with my mega bar, thinking that, yeah, we should be able to defend this if I can get a nice ult off. So then what I call it, I'm like, we need to fight. So I go in. Fizz does a nice dodge, but then I'm able to pick up Jace. I flash out, I'm able to live. We put the shutdown onto Jace right there, and then we get another shutdown onto Fizz. It was a really good play. We just barely lived on a few people's health bars, but it was a very good play by me to go and get that. And my team was able to follow up. I called that we should be able to get Dragon here, but what ends up happening is our ADC and our mid laner overstay. They don't decide to reset. They just sit here in mid lane when they were the ones that both got a bunch of gold. So now we're not even able to set up for Dread. It's literally a 3v5. But they both reset so late that we can't even contest it. Which feels really bad because that was our play back in the game. We had to get this play in mid. There was a pick before this objective, and then we got it. And we didn't do anything with it. So now, this is really bad. Our team looked to do Baron as a Hail Mary, and as it was getting lower, they got one shot. And I should have TP'd it earlier, I believe, but they were just calling that they'd be able to do it themselves, so I was trusting in the team. And now I'm trapped in a pit because I eat a little bit too early, and we got caught out and murdered for that. And now they end up just being able to push out our bot lane, they end up being able to push out our mid lane. Our Tristana gets one shot by Jace, and I respawn here and I walk bot to try and help defend. I have no mega bar, so I'm pretty useless right now. I'm just able to get poked out quite easily. They end up engaging here, and they get our bot inhib. That's okay because there's no objectives up on the map. Currently, we were saying that it's okay if they get bot inhib because we can just free farm it. It'll give us a chance to come back in the game before Elder spawns. And then we just kind of walk around for a while and see us. Now at this point, we're trying to defend our mid inhib since they have bot prio through that inhib. We're just holding this. We're saying that we can't let them get 2 inhibs because then they can just... Actually, no, someone said that they can get 2 inhibs because they can't do anything with it, but what I said was they can't get 2 inhibs because then they can just go 5-man top and then we have to respond to this lane and to this lane, which is the correct line. I don't see how letting them have 2 inhibs is okay in any sense of the word, because it's really not. They are stronger than us currently. We cannot just give up 2 inhibs for free. So now we're defending top inhib, turret, and my team's trying to just clear waves mid. They're getting poked out by Jace, and then I believe we disrespect the fact that Seraphine is a champion, and she ends up getting the jump onto our mid laner. And then that means that our jungler positions really awkwardly. He steps up, and then he dies, so now the game's pretty much over. I'm not able to do too much at this point. I only have assists. I have 0 kills. I am just here for the ride, but I do one fun play, at least. I am able to ult Fizz and Jace into our Nexus turret, and I end up picking up 2 kills this game, looking to try and defend this, but there's just simply too many minions and they're too far ahead that we end up just losing at this point. And then the third game, the enemy team just surrendered because it was already 11 at night and they didn't want to play another game. So yeah, all in all, these games were really rough. I mechanically messed up an insane amount of times. I need to just play the game more, practice a little bit more with my mechanics, and my execution. My teleports need to be a lot better. And from there, I just believe I need to improve with just CSing and going for better trade patterns with my ult, and just trying to abuse the fact that the jungler went top in the bot this game, where I could have just held the wave in front of my turret, and then we could have gotten a lot easier gank off. There's a lot of misplays on my part, and that's one of the reasons why we lost this game, but the main one was just communication. The team fights were really sloppy. We were always on the opposite sides of each other. It was just pretty much like we weren't even playing a team game. So yeah, all in all, the games went pretty rough, but for me, because I just mechanically misplayed a lot, and I had a hard time just executing on my plays. So, all in all, thanks for watching. Leave a like. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something. I'm going to work on trying to be a little bit more educational as it goes on. It was just, these games had a little bit more to do with the past games that I played, where I talked about bad timings and where I talked about staying too long for plates and jungle tracking. But, all in all, I just misplayed a lot. It was a lot of mechanics. There was a lot of bad teleports. It was pretty slow. So, thank you so much. Hope you enjoyed. Leave a like, subscribe. I really appreciate all the support, and thank you so much. Have a good night.